Hello and welcome back to the Making Fire podcast. This is a podcast where two longtime besties talk about their favorite TV shows. This week, we're talking about the Traitors. It was so exciting. What a great episode. There's a really good sort of, I don't think it ever, valleyed. I think we started high and it maybe plateaued and now it's getting even higher. So we're so excited. It's going to be a great episode to talk about. Before we get into it, some housekeeping to go over. As much as we are enjoying this Traitor season, we are sort of a Survivor podcast at heart. So we are coming up on Survivor 48, which is crazy because I feel like Survivor 47 just ended.
Yeah, I do sort of love this time of year where it's the short break.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, we're like really starting to miss Survivor, but guess what? It's just around the corner.
And then we're going to have sort of a long summer of no Survivor.
Yeah, I don't really love that part.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. We'll probably cover a new fun season of Survivor.
Right. And you know what? Last summer was so fun. Go back and watch our coverage of Survivor China.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
It was a good season to cover. But we are upcoming on Survivor 48 coverage. Back when we started the Traitors was meant to only just be our filler in between the Survivor seasons because it's sort of perfectly lined up. So, look, we're probably not going to finish all the way through with the Traitor season unless all of our fans, if you are dying for it, maybe we can work something out. But at this point, it doesn't seem like people are. I mean, people are liking it, but nobody's clamoring for our Traitors coverage. So
they're not as locked in as they are to the Survivor.
Exactly, but we can work it out on the remix if it comes down to that. But
and we can still touch on our favorite moments from the episode of the week when we cover Survivor.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do a short little segment and just do a quick little Traitors.
Because we will still be watching Traitors.
Trust and believe we will be. So. That all being said, next week there will be no episode. Maddie is living her adult life. She's got busy things.
I'll get to it in my update.
Getting it to it in her update. So next week we will not be having an episode, but the week following we will have two episodes. We'll have one podcast episode covering the two Traitors episodes that we missed, and then we will have an episode that same week with our US, our Survivor 48 cast assessment,
right.
Which has been, Maddie and I tend to not, we just have created this tradition of not engaging with the cast at all until the cast assessment. We go through and read it so we don't form opinions on people. The last week, I guess, has been very hard to avoid. Everybody's talking about the cast. I feel we were just discussing how it feels like it came out early this season.
I think also maybe part of it, because I haven't even fact checked if it did come out early, but I think with last season of Survivor being so good and so many more people getting into it, I'm wondering if maybe we're seeing more of it on social media of the excitement for this upcoming cast because it has so many more people who are excited about Survivor.
Right. So it'll be good. We're excited. We're excited for the Traitors. We're excited for Survivor, of course. So just housekeeping, heads up. That's what the next couple of weeks are going to look like. Hope you all are excited to follow along. Yes. Before we get into our into the dirty details, famously, of the Traitors, I have to ask, Maddie, how are you doing?
I am doing so good, everyone. I'm so excited to talk about my little update because it is sort of been going on in the background for the past while, but I didn't want to say anything until it was official. But don't miss this gray background too much because this is my last episode in here because my husband and I bought a house and we are moving. So so excited.
How about Maddie's place? Yeah.
So yeah, next episodes that you see will be from this time my desk gets to be in our guest bedroom area, not in this beautiful closet. I will not have a walk-in closet anymore, but that's fine. I don't really need it anyway, obviously, because I'm using it as my own office. But yeah, so I've just been so busy with that. I hate buying a house. I actually never want to do it again. I probably will do it again, but even though I feel like I got very lucky with how smooth the process was, it still was awful. And like, as soon as it all ended, I was like, I can breathe again. Like, I feel like me again. So I'm loving that. Now I'm just painting and getting things ready to move in. I was telling my mom on the phone yesterday that unfortunately we're staying in the same like town city area. I'm not like moving far. And I do miss living close to family in times like this because I wish I could just pay my 13-year-old brother in fast food to like paint for me and like tape things and like help me move. And all my other siblings said I have to do it myself. And so I'm not really loving that, but other than that, what a time to be alive. So yeah,
We're
next
so
time I'll see you at
excited.
the
And, you know,
house.
it is thanks to you guys that Maddie was able to buy the house. Thank you all for watching and subscribing to our Patreon. Um,
Yes. Thank you to the fans. It couldn't have done it without you.
Maddie and I make hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, so we are just internally great. This is actually Maddie's third house.
Right. Yeah, right. Totally. No, that's actually we weren't joking when we said comment below and we'll send you $5,000.
Exactly.
We're just absolutely rolling in cash. It's
Rolling in it.
crazy. Yeah, but anyways, now I'm just so excited. I'm excited to also be able to talk about it because that's sort of all I've been wanting to talk about on here. But I was like, I don't want to jinx it and then have to be like, hey guys, that didn't happen.
Hey, so actually, we are going to be seeing the gray background a little bit longer.
Yeah. So, and it's only up from here because now that I own the place, I think I will feel more motivated to actually add decorations and like a background.
Right.
So I'm a little, just a warning, a little bit nervous about the audio next episode. I'm going to have to figure that out because in here it's a very small space and there's not a lot of echo, but in like a room it's going to be a little different. So bear with me on that. We'll figure it out. But that's not this week's problem. That's me in 2 weeks. So anyways, Riley, how are you?
I'm doing so great. Some of you guys won't notice this. You probably never noticed. Maddie probably did. I, for the past couple weeks, have had a pile of clothes sort of sitting on the side over here. It sort of crops my screen so you guys can't really see that side of my bedroom. But I did sort of have for a while because I've been meaning to take clothes to Buffalo Exchange. Now, as we said, we do make hundreds of $1,000s for this podcast. I sort of donate all of my money, so I'm still down bad a little bit for money. Maddie uses her money to buy houses, but I am, and a lot of things are going on right now. I was just telling Maddie I'm saving up to go to RuPaul's Drag Con over the summer. Beyonce just announced her tour.
Maybe at DragCon you can sort of host your own little meet and greet for the Making Fire podcast viewers that are also there.
Yeah, I will look into that and I'll get back to you all. I know there is a lot of crossover in our fans, so I'll get back to you all on that. But look forward to some more details in the future. I'm saving up for a lot of things right now. I sort of have an expense. My tires just blew out, so that sort of wasn't expecting to have to pay for that. A lot of things are going on, and so I'm kind of down bad for money at the moment. And I was just like, let me just go sell some clothes at Buffalo Exchange. Now, Buffalo, I feel like historically within our general mindset is probably known for not taking a lot of, like, you don't make a lot of money. You necessarily, right? So I was a little anxious about it. A lot of the clothes that I sold were clothes that I haven't worn since high school. Things that I bought and I literally never wore. I was like, why did I buy this? So I was just worried that they weren't going to take anything. And I went out and bought a 30-ounce. I think that's the size. It's a big tote, like a gray tote, and I put like full of things, and then I got a big suitcase and I filled that up with stuff too.
You said, hey guys, I'm moving in.
Right. And I was feeling a little anxious about everything, and so I drove to our big city because where I live does not have anything like that, so I had to sort of drive to the city to go do that, and was nervous. I don't know what the most anxiety inducing part was. Definitely the idea that I had to walk into the store with this giant tote and the suitcase. It actually was filling me with so much anxiety. Like I would feel the same way, by the way. I was like, what if I walk in and they're like, oh my god, here we go. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I just need to sell these clothes. I was so anxious, but then I found out that you can join a wait list online, and that sort of took away all my anxiety because I was like, oh, I'll just book an appointment and then just walk in and it'll be good. And
That's
so
really
that's what
smart of them.
I know. And so that's what I did, and I walked in and I went to Buffalo Exchange first, and I was like, hey, and they were like, hi. And they went through all my clothes, and I made $86.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I told myself, so Buffalo makes they do 25% cash back, like what they would sell it for, or you can get 50% in-store credit. And I was talking to my sibling the night before, and I was like, if they tell me I would make less than $30 cash, then I'll probably take in-store credit.
Hmm.
So that was sort of my line. And then they were like, oh, they took a lot of my stuff. A lot of stuff that I was surprised that they took. And there was a lot of stuff I was surprised they didn't take. So it was interesting. But I was so happy. They $86, and then I was on a high, and I was like, oh my god, it's right across the street, Crossroads. So I also a similar resale. If you don't know what Buffalo Exchange is, it's a resale store. So all the product they get is things that people bring in to sell to them. Sort of like Goodwill, except you don't donate it for free. They give you money for your clothes. So all of their product is used clothes. It's like a thrift store, a little higher end. And Crossroads is the same thing. So then I went over there and I was like, maybe they'll just take any of this stuff. And they took a couple items. I made $60 at Crossroads.
Oh my god. That's actually awesome.
And it's crazy. So that's about $144. I made less than that at work one week in the last month because it's been so slow. Like, I made more selling clothes in like 3 hours that it took me than I made working like 12 hours at work.
That is tough.
It is a little tough out here, y'all.
You need to get into the business of reselling clothes.
Right. I don't know if I would sort of love that. I went into Crossroads, and I'm glad I got there when I did, because why did those giant IKEA bags?
Yeah.
Why did a guy come in with 5 of those full of clothes?
Oh.
And I could tell that was his like job. Like that his job was like reselling. It's a job, not a career. I could tell that was his job to do that because the way that he was buddy with a girl that was going through my clothes, they were like chit chatting. And then sorry TMI, I had to pee so bad, but they did not have a public restroom in the store, and I was gonna get lunch after, so I was like, I'll just wait. But then she started slowing down as she was talking to him, and I was like, girl, I need you to pick it up. Like, I had to pee so bad. But that was it. I made $144 selling my clothes, which is not what I expected.
That's crazy.
I sort of went on a TikTok deep dive, scrolling. I was like, how to sell at Buffalo Exchange, tips and tricks. And then I'm now currently down the TikTok rabbit hole of girls at Plato's Closet that go through the buys. And so they'll like show you what they're like. Somebody will bring a bag in and they'll go through the clothes on TikTok. So they'll be like, first up, we have this Lulu top. It's a really nice condition. It is white. So we're just going to double check there's no stains. And then they like flip it. And they're like, this is good, so we'll take it. And they put it in the pile. And they're like, next is this Shein top. We're really selective about our Shein right now, so we're just going to have to pass on this one today. And then they'll pull up, like, 8th grade, like, hoodie, like, class of 2016. And then they're like, unfortunately, we don't take anything that is from a specific high school or club sports, so we're going to have to pass on this one today. And I don't know why. The videos, they're, like, 5 or 6 minutes long, and I literally ate lunch today and that's what I watched while I was eating lunch. It was great.
I love those kind of videos, though.
It was
also,
so satisfying.
good on them. They should not be taking any Shein. I feel like we should not be incentivizing that at all.
Right. They're like, we're really selective about our Shein, so we're just going to have to pass on this today. And I was like, good for you.
Yeah. Today and every day.
Exactly. I did not have any Shein, unfortunately, but they ate up a lot of my stuff. So, hey, I'm fashionable. I'm trendy.
Yeah, you are.
There you go. Let's get into this episode. Sorry for my Buffalo Exchange rant. I just had to share.
No, I'm really glad that I got that update, actually, because like I was wanting to know how that played out.
It played out well. Happy Hunger Games. Let's get into Traitors. Mm-hmm. What a great episode.
What a great episode. I'm just like happy.
Wicked Witch of the
I was
West
literally
is
gonna say Ding Dong, the witch is dead.
the Ding Dong, the witch is dead. The Wicked Witch is dead. I'm so excited.
Me too. Yeah, I'm actually like, I think it's really funny that at this point, all three of like the new guys who weren't really cast for us are sort of gone.
Went back to back to back. Literally.
Yeah.
Wes was banished, Derek was murdered, Rob was banished. I was like, oh wow, this is a great. There's only 4 boys left.
Mm-hmm.
Ivar, Sam, Tom, and Dylan. Maybe the girls are winning. The girls are winning.
They have to.
They have to. A great episode. Well, let's get into the dirty details.
Yeah.
We start and we're still in the turret. And it is crickets in there. They cannot figure out what they're doing. It's complicated and nobody can get on the same page. Boston Rob wants to go after Derek, which is a complete and utter shocker to nobody. Boston Rob wants to go after somebody that directly targeted him.
Which, like, oh my god. The strategy just, like, from him in general is so insane to me. Like, why would that be a good idea for you?
I mean, it almost...
Like,
I don't want to be a Boston Rob defender, but, like, it almost works out for him.
and you know what? Because I'm so sorry to these faithfuls, but they're struggling.
It's struggle bus.
And the fact that he was almost able to get away with this is truly insane.
If it wasn't for who? Tom Sandoval?
We'll get there.
We
will get there.
Trust and believe. Boston Rob wants
That's
to go
how
after...
you know it's bad.
I know. Boston Rob wants to go after Derek. And they sort of basically go through everybody that has the ability to murder. They name off every single name. We get a clip of Sam working out. I said, "Hey, Sam."
Sam actually got multiple words in this episode.
Multiple.
He
I was
all of a
shocked.
sudden is here.
I know. Sam got a lot of, Sam got a lot of content. We got a lot of Sam shirtless content, which I was obsessed with. Dylan also had a moment in there getting into bed. I was like, "Hey, where's everybody from?" Is sort of what I wanted to know, but exciting for the viewers, I'm sure. There's not a lot of budging. Danielle, Derek, and Carolyn keep Daryl. Did I say Daryl?
I don't
Dylan,
know.
Rob is what I meant to say. I don't know where that. Rob and Carolyn keep naming names, and Danielle just keeps shutting them down. And we sort of end our time in the turret with Boston Rob saying, what happens if we can't pick anybody? And it sort of fades to black, and we're brought to breakfast. Mm-hmm. What are the traitors going to do? We also get a lot of Lord Ivar content at the beginning of this episode, but not really for great reasons for Lord Ivar.
No. Lord Iva.
Iva. Brittany compares Lord Ivar to furniture. He is just in every room and not contributing anything. He's just there. Furniture is that's very Big Brother terminology, calling somebody a piece of furniture in the house.
Yeah.
They just don't offer anything up. They're just there observing. Like nothing happens. To the
Is she
point
wrong?
where no, she's not. To the point where Gabby walks in, doesn't even notice he's in there. He was the first person in there. He's been in there the whole time.
And he's also like right there when you walk in. Like...
Yeah, like he would probably realistically be one of the first people you see when you open the door. Gabby doesn't notice him, and they're trying to figure out who they think is going to get murdered. And Gabby's like, "Well, I thought Ivar was going to get murdered yesterday, so who knows what'll happen to him today?" And Ivar's like, "Well, I'm here today, so hopefully nothing bad. I'm here right now."
She's like, "Thank God I didn't say anything bad about you." Also, I just wanted to say I have become Gabby's biggest fan.
Oh my God, obsessed with Gabby.
I love her. I follow her on TikTok now. She's so funny. I love her not only in the show but just in general.
I'm
I
obsessed
want her
with
commentary.
her.
I want her to just like narrate my life.
I think she is playing, out of all the faithfuls, she's playing the best game. I wish the only thing that's against her is that she just doesn't trust her gut enough. Like she needs to, if she has an inkling, she just needs to go for it. Because pretty much everything that she has thought what could be possible has been right.
And even when she's not right, she's not like throwing out
so
these
off.
wild
Right.
accusations. Like, she actually is thinking through what she's saying.
Right. And so I wish she just trust her gut more, but I've been obsessed with her game so far. I'm obsessed with her as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me, I'm like, I wish that I just watched The Bachelor. Like, I wish I was more involved in Bachelor Nation because it seems like a lot of the non-gamers
Mm-hmm.
that come on, like last season Pilot Pete, like he was a
Yeah.
great character to
I
have.
just
So,
don't care about those shows. You know
right.
what? I want to see Gabby on any other reality TV show. I want her on
Right.
Survivor. I want her on Amazing Race. I
Right.
I just want her. I want to see her again on anything.
I'm loving Gabby. Great addition to the season. One of my favorite people that I was not aware of prior to the season starting. Like I've been obsessed with her. So
Same.
that's great. The last three people to walk in are Boston Rob, Dylan, and Derek. Obviously, we know it's not going to be Boston Rob, so it's between Dylan and Derek, and we find out that Derek has been murdered.
Murdered.
He leaves. There's a lot of emotion at the table. Danny is crying.
Okay, can I say something about Danielle? Why is she like? Okay, I want to know if this she acts the same now as she did on Big Brother with like the constant tears and like or being on the verge of tears or like shaking. Like she's always like
I don't. She never. Okay, so if I can be brave, I've watched her first season. I haven't watched Big Brother also. Big Brother's hard to go back and watch for me because there's so many episodes full of nothingness.
mhm.
Like I think the peak of watching Big Brother is when you're following along live and you get like the live feed updates and you can see day to day. But when you go back to watch a season, I'm like it's not as exciting for me personally.
Mhm.
But to my knowledge, Danielle, this is not common how she usually plays these games. Um, I I don't I've been seeing a lot of Danielle discourse on the timeline. A lot of people are defending her, I guess, in the sense that nobody is we as a viewer can see that she's playing a messy game, but nobody is really nobody said her name about anything. Like nobody's been like Danielle's
Mhm.
other than Carolyn.
Yeah.
Um so I don't know. Like I think this like crime this messiness that we're seeing, this like over the topness that we as an audience see is working in her favor for some reason, which I mean good for her. If it's working, it's working. If people aren't sus of her, they're not sus of her. But
Yeah.
I don't think this isn't typical Danielle play.
Okay. Cuz she just seems like so anxious all the time. I'm like, are you always like she's always shaking. Like and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
say anything about her. I was just wondering like is this normal behavior? Like I just
I
haven't seen
I
this.
do think that this is something that she's playing up on
Okay.
this. Like, I don't think this isn't normal in the sense that like she didn't play Big Brother like this, but I also don't think that this is just her being herself. Like I think what she's doing is very specific to the setting she's
Okay.
in. And that's why I think it's like I think that's why a lot of people are like this isn't what we're used to. This isn't what we're used to. But
Mhm.
I think she is she's changed herself to fit this game a little bit.
I was gonna say sometimes it feels like she's taking notes from Tom Sandoval and like the
Right.
paranoia and the like looking around and like
Yeah.
you're sort of channeling Tom right now.
Right. It definitely, yeah, it's not normal, but
Okay.
I also think in Big Brother she sort of created this like Black Widow persona. Like she very much in the Big Brother world is like one of the OG villains of Big Brother.
Mhm.
So that is a very different energy than what and it's been a long time. She hasn't been on Big Brother since 2007, like actually on a Big Brother season proper since
Mhm.
2007, 2008.
I guess I just kind of wish I got to see that because
Yeah.
I'm kind of over the crying. It's kind of just like
Yeah,
getting on my nerves at this point.
it's definitely I do think I feel like some of her tears this season have not been genuine. I do
Yeah.
think that I think this reaction that Derek being murdered was a genuine crying. Like some of the crying has been forced for some of the moments, but I do think that this actually
And I think the forced crying isn't my problem. It's
mm,
the real tears because I'm like
mm,
I just don't feel like it's that deep.
mm.
Like it is a game and he's not actually being murdered and like I just think he's going to be okay and can like sort of handle it.
That
I
was
don't know.
I don't know why I sighed like that. I was like, I don't know, maybe from her perspective, because she was so hurt by what Brittany did to her in a reality show, similar to the Traitors, where it was like a
Maybe.
quick filming. They had a prior relationship. So maybe Danielle knows from experience, like the way that she processed how Brittany backstabbed her in that moment. But look at them now, like Brittany and Danielle have made up. So I'm
And
sure if Derek was really mad, they could make up.
and when Derek, my thought process is she has been actively like she did not want Derek out, and like I feel like Derek also as a gamer should be able to look at this footage
Hmm.
when watching it and be like, oh well, Danielle really wasn't gunning for me. Like she may have been a traitor, but it wasn't like her, that got me out. Anyways,
I do think it's if Lord, if we're referencing the classic Danielle Big Brother, I do think what gave very Danielle Big Brother was the fact that she used Derek as a pawn. We later see
yes, and
that
I
was
feel like I would appreciate that if
that.
I were a gamer as well, and like
Mhm.
you're using me that way. I'm like, okay, you're thinking about me, but also like, do you, Queen?
Right? Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. We find that Danielle used Derek as a pawn. Ultimately, she
Uh-huh.
did not want Derek to go, but she said, "I will let you have Derek if you start at a clean slate with me tomorrow. If everything is just water off a duck's back."
Water off a duck's back.
Water off a duck's back. And ultimately Derek gets pulled.
R.R.I.P. Derek.
Boston Rob says this in the turret when he's trying to plead to let them kill Derek. He says, "At least let me get my revenge here."
Which you have had your revenge over and over and over again.
That is what I'm saying. I'm like, what do you mean here? Like, every person that you guys have killed has been connected to you wanting to get revenge on them.
Because they're on to you because you keep making moves that make people sus of you.
I would say since Bob the Drag Queen episode 3, we're now on episode 7. I
Yeah.
would say that 5 episode stretch, every single episode you've had some sort of revenge story built in.
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't know. I don't get
And
it.
you know what? I feel like Danielle and Carolyn at some point are just like you can kind of watch this progression of like, fine,
Mhm.
like, what are
Whatever.
we gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
So yeah, Boston Rob gets what he wants. Derek goes. I wrote that Danielle's taking L after L this season. Just every person that she wants to have some sort of working relationship, they just keep getting got.
Yeah.
And I could understand. I could understand that being like feeling like you're in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Rob plays right into the hand that Derek left Dylan, and Rob looks at Dylan and verbatim says, "Someone's trying to frame me." Just literally the same exact verbiage that Derek told Dylan to watch out for. Derek tells Dylan that directly and says, "If I go, you need to look at Boston Rob and Brittany, but specifically Boston Rob. Like this will be Boston Rob's doing."
It was definitely emphasis on Boston
Boston
Rob. The
Rob,
Brittany thing
not-
was sort of a side thing, like,
Yes.
hey, by the way, like I'm a little bit sus.
But it was definitely like
it's
we need
Boston Rob.
Boston Rob is the one we need to focus on. And Tom Sandoval, this is where we start the storyline. Tom Sandoval's catching on. He says isn't it convenient that the last 3 people that have been murdered are people that were direct enemies with Boston Rob?
And that's how you know it's bad when Tom Sandoval is the one who's like putting the legit pieces together.
Yeah, I watched that and I said, "Oh my god, why is it starting to connect for him?" It was interesting. Alan comes in this beautiful white tux with the red flowers. I was like, "OMG." And he sort of Alan calls them all carpet munchers.
Crumpet is sort of what he said.
Oh, okay.
I have to have subtitles on for this show, especially when taking notes because they talk so fast. And he did go ahead and call them crumpet.
Okay. I'm so glad that you sort of corrected me there because I was about to be like, "Why did you do that?" I mean,
And you can see in their reactions.
I guess
like, what?
I was like, I mean, Alan, I guess you can say it, but I don't know if that makes it okay.
Like, I'm sort of surprised that they're airing that.
I know. I was like, why are we just calling people carpet munchers? That's kind of crazy. Like, I don't think that should be allowed. So now, go ahead and reverse that. Alan calls them crumpet munchers. Glad that you caught onto that because I didn't even realize that's what he said. I just was so I was like,
I
oh
did
my
have to
god.
rewind it to get that though.
I didn't see.
Because
I
I
did not.
was shocked.
And you know what? That's just two different type of people. Because I thought I heard him say carpet muncher, and I said, yeah.
He would say that.
Just like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. I was like, does it fully make sense? Not really, but hey, do what you need to do, I guess. So, interesting.
To say the least.
We get out of breakfast, and the first thing that Dylan does is he goes up to Boston Rob, and he says, I need to tell you that Derek told me that you were going to say that someone was trying to frame you. And that Brittany needs to be looked at. And Dylan's basically like, but I'm not gonna go after that. Like, I'm not gonna tell other people that he said that. But we should push Brittany.
Dylan, whose game are you playing? Yours or Boston Rob's?
Dylan, get off of Boston Rob's dick. Why are we?
Yeah.
Why are we riding to ride? Like, you carpet munchers all
was directed at you, Dylan.
At you, babe.
Zac Efron's brother.
Why are I was like, this is crazy. You that man has you eating, and then these are the moments. Like, I hate to admit it, I'm like, Boston Rob knows what he's doing. He found the person he needed to find, and it's working.
And like, for Dylan, why couldn't he just go around and be like, Dylan could tell Boston Rob that Derek was telling other people this. Like, Boston Rob doesn't need to know that it's Dylan sharing this information that was told to him. Like, he can frame the dead person.
Right.
Like, why are you so loyal to Boston Rob in this for no reason?
Right. It's just I was like, this is, and then so Ivar and Sam are going to be partners. I don't know why. It's a weird. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So Tom, I said Tom Sandoval is our savior. Rob says people are lying in this game, and Tom says no shit, people are lying in this game. And I was like, great, Tom is not falling for his lies anymore. But then I started remembering sort of this edit that we've had, specifically last episode, where nobody believes Tom, and Tom is just crazy. And I was like, oh wow, nobody's gonna believe. I thought that the storyline this episode was that nobody's gonna believe Tom, and then he's gonna get got or something, and Rob is gonna get away with this. I feel like if I was Boston Rob, that's who I would have framed it on. Instead of framing it on Brittany.
Do you think?
I would have framed it on. I mean, the girls would have done any. I'm sure Chriselle would have jumped on. Well, Chriselle does vote Tom, and Dolores also votes Tom.
Too.
We'll get there, and yeah, trust and believe we'll get there. But I'm sure Boston Rob could have gotten the girls against Tom and could have gotten the numbers against Tom.
Yeah.
I don't think it was smart to go on Brittany because I feel like that sort of came out of nowhere this episode.
And she's too sort of with it to fight.
Right.
Back. Like, she is going to have an argument against you where if you out of nowhere charge against Tom, like, what's he gonna say?
Right, he's just gonna mumble, babe.
He's gonna start crying.
Right, he thinks it's real.
He's gonna get banished.
He thinks he's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
So, it was weird. We have this challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Can I just say something?
Of course.
This challenge, I want to say, was so fun, and it's almost like they were able to hear us when they're like, these challenges, these missions have been bad, and they're like, just wait, it's gonna get you good in a second.
It's gonna get where it needs to go.
You just gotta wait. Yeah.
Tom, it's a partner challenge. They have to partner together. Ivar, and before we even really go into depth, so Alan says that at the beginning, or at when he's there after breakfast, and he's sort of talking, he's like, you guys are gonna have to pair up. So they have to pair themselves up. Ivar and Sam pair together. I'm like, this is just like, there's nothing going on in this group right now. Like, there's just like a lack of something. It's a nothing burger of a group. There's literally nothing.
The two quietest people.
Literally. So I was like, that's interesting. We go out in front of the castle, and Alan is in a full bridal couture, has the veil on, Looks so good.
Stunning.
Then we see the cast, and everybody's dressed up in red, and I was like, "Oh, this is so." They looked so
They were
good.
dressed up.
The girls were dressed.
Oh yeah.
Danielle
Even the
looked.
guys.
The guys were dressed up. Tom had his little top hat on. No baseball cap for Rob. I will say, I was shocked. Sam, I think out of everybody, was the most disappointing. He had just like a black suit on with like red handkerchief and stuff. I was like, I need a little bit more, buddy. But the girls looked so good. Dolores looked really good. Danielle looked really good. I was like, y'all turned out. Y'all turned out for
veils.
this. The veils. I was like, oh my God, I would have loved to see what Bob the Drag Queen was going to wear.
That was my immediate reaction to them walking out.
I know.
Immediate.
Ion or Bob the Drag Queen would have ate this challenge. I ate the red look down.
Ion in her outfits.
Did you see that they made up?
Oh really?
Bob the Drag Queen's on tour right now. He's doing a comedy tour and was just in Paris, and Ion went to the show, and they had a made up, and they had a photo session.
I love that.
Love that. And they both looked really good. I was like, gag on that. Best friends forever. Okay, so here are our groups. We have, and the pairs are going up against each other. So we have 6 pairs, 3 sort of like groups, if that makes sense. So our first group, we have Rob and Sierra versus Dolores and Chriselle. We have Carolyn and Gabby versus Danielle and Brittany. And then we have Tom and Dylan versus Ivar and Sam. Iva and Sam. And just in group, they're put up on an altar. They're going to get married. It's till death do us part. Hold hands. It's giving very wedding. Let's break it down. I always forget. See, and this is my bad Survivor note taking coming in, because Alan started explaining the challenge, and I went, I don't have to watch. I can just like watch. And then I was like, oh my God, no, I have to like write down what the challenge is and all this stuff. The pairs are going head to head. They have to stand and hold their hands together for 8 minutes. It seems simple, right? Whoever can hold their hands together for the whole 8 minutes will earn $4,500 to the prize pot. The pair who holds their hand together the longest within each group will win a shield. The losing pair is at risk for murder. Oh my God, it seems simple. Alan says, well, what's wedding without a gift? He brings out a box, and it's a clear box they can put their hands through. Okay. Very interesting. And there's some goggles in there. We had some interesting applications of the goggles.
I think, was it Dolores with the goggles over the veil?
Picture, I'm like, that just seems so overstimulating. She had the veil on and then the goggles, but then she didn't move the veil. So like half the veil was under the goggles.
I just loved them in these beautiful outfits with these swim goggles on.
I was like, this is so... what an interesting...
They couldn't even give them, like, real, like, bigger goggles. They were
right.
The individual eyes.
Right. And I was like, what are these going to be used for? And they did not disappoint. We'll just say that. So they put their hands in, and the time starts when the first gift comes out for them, is what Alan says. And what are we greeted with but giant millipedes? Millipedes? Centipedes.
I don't know.
What's the difference?
I think the amount of legs.
Right.
But I don't know. What?
Come on, camp counselor. Come on, Bugs class.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, what's the difference between a centipede and a millipede? Oh, she's not reading it out loud. Oh. The main difference is a centipede and a millipede have a number of legs per body segment. Centipedes have 1 pair of legs per segment, while millipedes have 2. Which is basically what you just said, so sorry I didn't believe you.
It's okay.
They put I think they were millipedes. They put the millipedes down in the box on their hands. It's a ton of them.
Huge.
They're giant. A lot is going on. Rob is like, Sierra, don't look.
He was so good to her during this
He
challenge.
was. The girls are freaking out. The feeling, I can imagine the feeling feels not great. And Chriselle doesn't even last 15 seconds.
She takes a look at these books and immediately,
No, she said, no.
Dolores is like, regret my decision to partner with you.
Chriselle's like, I'm sorry. And Dolores was like,
Yeah.
like she was like, it's not like she was like, it's a little more serious to me than just a little I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would have loved for you to have handled that a little better, but she doesn't. And everybody else lasts. Spoiler alert, everybody else lasts the whole challenge. They're the only group that ends up dropping before the 8 minutes. So then it was sort of just a fun game of seeing everybody endure everything. They bring out a scorpion next. I don't know what type of scorpion. It didn't look like a normal scorpion.
No, because I think they said that they took off the like
The tail?
stinger part. Yeah. And yeah, they were weird. They're big.
They looked weird. I mean, I haven't looked at too many
Those are
scorpions in
some
my life.
scorpions native to Scotland, probably.
Okay, bug girl. That's
I'm
your
kidding.
Come on, bug girl.
I don't think they have scorpions there.
I think they like a warm weather climate, maybe. Is
yeah,
that
like desert.
right? What's his name? Alan is an interrogator.
He was laughing so hard.
He was enjoying this a little too much. He kept asking people how they're doing. He's like, Danielle, how are you doing? She fully flipped him off.
Everything Gabby said was making Alan laugh.
I have some great. I think I only there was a couple good quotes. My favorite one of my favorites was Tom said, "I'll try anything once," and Alan said, "Don't threaten me with a good time."
I was like, okay, Riley, that's a good response you would have.
There was a lot of carpet munching going on this episode.
Oh my god.
Am I allowed to say that? Is that like? I mean,
I mean, Alan. That's not what Alan said.
But that's what I'm saying.
And I think you're okay to say that. It's not like we're. I mean, we don't need to monetize this episode. I think it's okay.
We make enough money as is.
Yeah.
Right. So Tom says that. My other favorite was Gabby when they drop the it's a cockroach, mealworm, and cricket cocktail that drops from the sky. That's sort of why they need the goggles. And it looks like pounds and pounds of them.
It's a lot.
Gabby says they're definitely in my bra, you perverts.
Also, I was cracking up at Tom's top hat where the whole rim and top
I literally wanted to throw up. They land on Tom's top hat and they're crawling up the top hat. Like they're all settled in the brim of the hat and they're all like, crawling and like flailing out. I was like, that is so gross.
I feel like the women that wore veils were on something because that would be so nice to like have protection from going down your back.
Oh god,
that's what would get me.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely my bra, you perverts. It was too good. Love Gabby. It looked like so for Sam and Ivar, Sam got so many like Sam just like kept falling on top of him, and then Ivar like was not getting any.
And Sam was like, why is Ivar not getting any of these on him?
And then he ended up getting a ton too. So it was good. But I was like I would be so overstimulated.
Yeah. Oof.
That's too much for me. They end up bringing snakes out as well, putting snakes around their necks, or I guess on their shoulders, not like around like being choked out by snakes or anything. But I saw somebody tweet friend of the pod, Mike Bloom. He tweeted, he said, "How are you gonna put a snake around Britney's ex's neck and not make a Britney Spears reference?" I mean, the joke was there, Alan. Like it should have been taken.
Maybe it got cut.
Maybe it got cut.
Maybe he was like, "Don't."
Oh yeah, I allegedly, I feel like I remember them saying that he wasn't allowed to talk about Britney at all this season. So maybe they just weren't allowed to reference her.
Well, maybe this was the reference.
Maybe that's what they were sort of setting themselves up for.
Yeah.
Maybe. So everybody, like I said, everybody but Dolores and Chriselle were able to bank money. So they made a lot of money from this. It was great. I thought that I misunderstood the thing at first. So I thought everybody was going to get a shield except for Chriselle and Dolores. But then,
that would be crazy.
That literally would have been insane. They ended up going into...
That's some survivor behavior.
It is survivor behavior, unfortunately. They go into a sudden death tie breaker. And they dump our bug cocktail into the box. of each pair, and there is a ring hidden within the box of bugs. And so the pairs have to dig through the box of bugs to look for the ring, put the ring on their partner, and whoever of the group does that first wins a shield, and the other people are up for murder. Sam and Ivar and Danielle and Brittany are the two pairs that end up getting the rings in their respective groups first. So they get shields, which means Tom and Dylan and Carolyn and Gabby are up for murder, as well as Dolores and Chriselle. So that's what we're looking at. The girls are in trouble.
Yeah.
It was an insane challenge.
It was so good. The theatrics of it, the actual, I love when it's a challenge like this where they don't have to like eat anything. They don't have to like do anything except just like endure it.
Yeah.
And I loved the outfits. I loved just like the visuals of them dumping all the gross bugs on top of their beautiful outfits. I thought it was just so fun. Alan was cracking up, being so silly. I loved it. I thought it was such a good redemption challenge after how boring some of them have been.
Yeah, it was good. I quite enjoyed it.
But I also want to say, I think you need a good mix for celebrities to want to get involved, because I think if every challenge was like this, a lot of them would be like, well, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But I think like if you can anticipate like one or like two, maybe even three are like this, but then the rest are more just like chill, to be honest, I think it's different. Like it's a good mix.
I think it's good to have it later in the season like this, because now the people that are left are committed to the game. Like they are like,
Oh yeah.
they're down for, like they're gonna do what they need to do at this point. If you do it earlier in the season, there might be more like fluctuation with.
And they're like, I'm actually not really into this.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Post challenge, we are driving back to the castle. At the castle, Rob is starting to push Brittany hard, and he realizes that he needs to spin a story so that it works how it needs to work. Tom, on the other hand, is pushing Rob hard, specifically to Dylan, Ivar, and Sam. And Dylan's like, how can you be so sure? And Tom's like, the evidence is there.
And he's right.
He is right. Ivar and Sam, they are like, on our furniture of the season, they're like, whatever, we'll see how it turns out at the round table. Rob is talking to Dolores, Sierra, and Chriselle, and I think this is like the reason this is working so well for Rob is because the faithful have no idea what they're doing. Like, Dolores, Sierra, and Chriselle are talking to Rob, and they're fully asking Rob. They fully did. Like, this isn't me insinuating what like this is what happened. They fully ask Rob to convince them of his plan. They're like, well, Rob, do what you do. Tell us what you think and why we should think it too.
God, it's so hard to watch.
And I'm like, oh, we keep wondering how he's possibly getting away with all this. It's because they're letting him get away with, like, they're playing into his hand.
And you know what I was thinking about with all of this? And, like, spoiler alert, Rob goes home. I think it has set up Carolyn and Danielle in such a good way, because now every single murder is so easily tied to Rob that it's like, well, who are the other ones?
Who else is
like,
possibly doing it?
They have no connection to it. And, like, Rob has just been the face of it. And, like, you can just pinpoint every single thing going back to Rob, where, like, there's just nothing to anyone else. Like, once you look at it from now that he's gone.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I think it's even more interesting. Dolores, Sierra, and Chriselle, none of those three end up voting for Rob. So, like, obviously what he's doing is working. Like, he's talking to the right people.
Yeah.
And he was very close for it to work out. But Brittany ends up, like, walking into this room with the same group of people. Rob isn't there. And Brittany quickly is catching on to the fact that things are different, and she should feel worried. And this is why I think being a gamer is so important, because Brittany was bred in the world like that. Like, she knows what is going on.
She was put on this earth to do
She was put on
this.
this earth to do this. No, but Brittany is a good. I think a lot of the time, and I've been seeing a lot of discourse. I won't say these thoughts are my own original thoughts, but a lot of discourse on my timeline the last 24, 48 hours about Brittany as a game player within Big Brother specifically, because Brittany has never won Big Brother. She's made it far on both of her seasons, but she has had some pretty. The ways that she's gone out in Big Brother are very complicated. Like the Britney's elimination, both of her seasons, was at the end of very like game. What's the word I'm like benchmark strategy, like
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 strategic moves to get Britney out. And she wasn't, it just happened to be that she was she never was the target to go home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She was never the target of these strategic moves. It just so happened to be like her first,
Strays.
yeah, the first season, she made it to the final five, and she was working with this guy, and she ended up going home because the four guys and her, the four guys were in one of the best alliances Big Brother has ever seen.
Mm.
And she just happened to be carried along to the end, and she didn't even realize there was an alliance. Like that's how well they were working within the house. She didn't know the four of them were working together, and so she was sort of told at the final five that she was going home no matter what. And
Oh my
like
god.
like they brought her up to the bedroom because she was working with this guy named Lane, and she thought her and Lane were going to go to the end together. And Lane kind of wanted to do that, but ultimately he had to stick close to his alliance that he'd been working with. And they sat her up in the HOH bedroom, and were like, Brittany, we're so sorry to tell you this, but you are going home this week. Like, there's no way you survive this week. And so then she had to like live in the house for the rest of the week, like knowing she was going
Oh,
home.
that's awful.
It was really sad. And she like breaks down and starts crying, and then she's mad at Lane, and she's like, I can't believe you did this to me. She was like, I look like an idiot on television right now. The whole summer I was working with you, and you just led me on.
Yeah.
And then her second season, she goes home. One of the best strategic moves of all, Dan's funeral. Dan from last season.
Oh yeah.
His big move, Dan's funeral. Brittany was she was the stray. She was the other option that week,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the reason, like, and it all works because Dan, it was like a twist, and there was a advantage that Dan was given, or not Dan, but other people. Like there was an advantage in that week, and there was a major twist that helped Dan in developing that strategy. And so really Brittany just caught strays both of her seasons, but she's a great social player, which I think we see work out in the roundtable. So that's what a lot of the discourse has been about, is like Brittany is one of the best social gamers that Big Brother has ever seen, but she doesn't necessarily get a lot of credit all the time because most people know her as a very memorable character, because she's very good in confessionals. And so this episode of Traitors, a lot of people are like, this is really validating to say that Brittany is a great game player.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry, that was a long Big Brother tangent. I was excited. This was
It
a
was
good
good
episode.
context.
Thank you. And it's been a great. Brittany's had a good couple episodes. The last couple episodes, I was like, I think explaining that is necessary. Anyway, Brittany is a gamer. She's obviously catching on to the fact that something is going on within this group. And Boston Rob sort of goes up to Danny and is like, or goes up to like Carolyn, and Danny is like, Brittany's the name. And Danny's like, I can't lose Brittany. Specifically after they've rebuilt this relationship. And Danielle has been strong-armed this whole season. Like,
Yeah.
every person that she's wanted to stay in the game has gone. And so she really just needs to take a stand at this point. And a stand she does take. She needs to take a stand. We get to the round table. Dylan opens it up and says this story about Derek and Boston Rob and Brittany. And is ultimately like, Boston Rob, whatever, but Brittany, we need to focus on Brittany.
Y'all are so dumb.
Y'all are so dumb. He's like, it can't be Boston Rob, so it has to be Brittany. We have to go for her first.
And why can't it be Boston Rob?
Why can't it be Boston Rob? I did sort of write here, I'm sorry, but Sam is so pretty. I don't know if I talk about it enough how handsome Sam is.
Yeah.
He was just sitting there, and I was like, you're just like a pretty man to look like. You're just pretty.
Yeah. Made a few words.
In a few words,
He's perfect, honestly. What more could
literally,
you want?
exactly. And I'm saying all this. I don't know all the drama between Sam and Britney Spears.
Very good
Sorry.
point. I
Yes,
don't know
I,
any of it.
I don't know any of it. So if Sam is a terrible person, I do apologize.
Yeah.
He is good to look at,
Yeah.
and so that I'm sorry, but I do feel comfortable saying.
I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with the Britney situation.
Right.
They're mutually exclusive, so.
Right. Sam is pretty to look at. He is pushing the narrative. He's pushing the narrative of all. He's pushing the narrative of all faux Sam's enemies dies.
Right.
Is
and
what
that's what I was
oh,
exactly thinking.
That's exactly what you were thinking, and that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Literally, that's exactly what I said. I don't really know what that means. I think I was just so distracted by Sam being pretty. I don't really know what I meant to write there. But he's pushing a specific narrative. Oh, I think what I meant... Okay. I meant Rob. That's definitely what I meant. Sam is pushing the narrative that Tom had started earlier in the day. That it's suspicious that all of Rob's enemies are dying.
Yeah.
That is what I
Sam
meant to
does
write.
really start like joining in on that.
Yes.
Which, what an interesting duo. Tom Sandoval and Sam.
I don't know his last name, sorry. But it's interesting. It's starting to catch some heat here at the round table.
That's how you know it's bad. Those two are
Those two are the ones that are conspiring against you. Tom he explains perfectly what has been happening. Like, literally to a T, basically. He's like, I bet you Boston Rob is up there, and that's why he got Bob the Drag Queen up, because Bob the Drag Queen was pushing up against him, and he's getting out all of these people, one after another, to look like he's being framed, when in reality, he's just getting people out that are pushing against him.
In front
and he's
of all
getting
of
away
us.
with it.
Yeah. Tom Sandoval said, let me cook.
No, he did. He just, he had to throw out a couple of bad ideas. He had to get those out of the way.
Yes, no idea is a bad idea. Just keep
right.
on.
He's just it's working together. It's teamwork. It's brainstorming.
Yes, out loud.
Exactly. And sometimes people need to think out loud to process correctly.
Yes.
And it's working. It worked, obviously. So Tom is starting to catch the seat, and then Boston Rob does what he does, and he takes up the whole room. And he starts talking with conviction, and he's saying it cannot be me. It makes no logical sense for it to be me. Like, why would I do this? Why would I frame myself? It has to be Britney. Britney is so good at this game. Britney is good at talking to people. She's good at covering things up. Like, it cannot be me. It has to be Britney. And I'm like, he is so, like, you can see people, like, this group of faithful is so interesting because all they really need to do is somebody to be convincing. Like, of the faithful that are left, like, of the non-gamers, I will say, they just need someone to have a powerful enough speech for them to be like, right.
Someone that needs to be confident in what they're saying.
Right.
And then they're like, no, right, exactly.
No, exactly. And Boston Rob is going, and I'm like, damn, he's gonna turn it on Britney. He's gonna turn it on Britney. And then I was sort of thinking while he was talking, I'm like, how many more weeks could say that Boston Rob stays in this game? How many more weeks could this realistically have kept going on while Boston Rob keeps incorrectly pointing at Faithful and getting them banished? And him surviving every single week. It's the combination of both of those things. And he hasn't consistently done that. I would say this roundtable and then the West roundtable, right? But then Boston Rob was probably the only other time. And Boston Rob obviously was a traitor. Bob the Drag Queen was obviously a traitor when he did it to Bob the Drag Queen. And so he did it to West, and he could have done it to Britney, right? So he would have gotten two faithful out in a row, and then he wouldn't have been murdered. Like, how many more times could that have happened before he got caught?
And that's what people were even saying. They're like, when someone says, okay, Bob or Rob, defend yourself, and someone's like, he's gonna defend himself the exact same way he did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, exactly what your point is. Like, why don't you guys just get him out?
Mm-hmm.
If he is up every single week as, like, one of the main people, why don't we just get out the common denominator in every single round table and just, like, vote him out? And if he's not it, well, then we're really screwed. Like, we have no idea who it is.
See,
but, like, it is so obvious, him every single time. So why don't we just try? We're voting out faithfuls anyways. Mm-hmm. Why does it matter?
I could, yeah. I think that's the mindset to have when going in, like at this point of the season. I understand where their fears come from, because obviously if he is a traitor, he has been leading, or if he is a faithful
Yeah.
in the eyes of the other faithful, he has been leading the pack, right? Like he's the main faithful. He's the pilot Pete of the season, right? So I could understand what, like, is the risk worth it? Is it the risk of losing him as a good faithful worth the fact that he might be a traitor?
I feel like yes.
I
I
do
feel like
too.
that's a risk you just have to take.
You have to take, and like like you're not all gonna make it to the end,
And I would argue that every vote is a risk anyways.
right?
So
Like
like
you never really know.
no. So get him out. Ugh.
Get him out while you can.
Yeah.
We Brittany fights back. Brittany has a very convincing. Rob is pushing this narrative that Brittany is so good, blah blah blah, and Brittany is like, I don't feel good. And I think this is what, like, a little bit of self-deprecation I think goes a long way.
Yeah.
Brittany is like, I don't feel confident. I actually feel, she doesn't say shitty, but she's like, I feel kind of shitty in this game. Like, I'm not getting the right people out. I don't have any good theories. Like, I feel like I'm in a bad position.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Boston Rob is consistently getting out of this. Like, we need to look at what is being put in front of us. And this is something that is being put in front of us. And
Every single night.
right. And she's like, I feel bad for you guys. Like, if you vote me out here, what happened last week? What happened the week before? I'm going to get up there and I'm going to say I'm a faithful, and y'all are going to feel frustrated and lost as I walk out.
Yeah.
And we have something here that is so concrete, so actually tangible that we just need to do it. And then Tom Sandoval even backs her up. It is like, we're just going to repeat all of this next week anyway, so we might as well just end it this week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just do it now, and then we can go from there.
Reason.
It's crazy. Hashtag believe cheaters.
Okay, you know what I was thinking though? Because I have never seen any of Vanderpump Rules or any like I wasn't involved in knowing about the Sandoval conflicts, all of that. Is he always like this, or is this like a different level of Tom Sandoval paranoid? Because I'm kind of intrigued in going to watch that show now.
I think he's always like this. I don't know though.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
maybe I'll start watching Vanderpump Rules and I'll get back to y'all.
Yeah, you let us know. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's get to some of these votes. It's going back and forth a little bit. Chriselle votes Tom.
I'm so sick of this.
It is. Sorry, you go.
Okay, I like Chriselle. I like most of these people at this point. Stop. Like, her reasoning for voting for Tom is so stupid. That she didn't want to vote. She didn't want to be a deciding factor in a faithful going home. That's the entire point of playing this game. You have to vote, like, for real. There is no reason for you to come on here and, in my opinion, take up a spot and, like, not play the game is what it's giving to me. And, like, I know a couple other people also didn't vote for, like, Brittany or Rob. And, like, I felt like they gave a different reason but, like, just saying I didn't want to be a deciding factor in someone going home is just, it really bothers me, like, to my core.
Yeah. And I think that us coming from, like, a Survivor standpoint, like, a throwaway vote, especially at and what's frustrating me most, at the early points of this game, the first couple of roundtables, I get it.
And it was oh, sorry, you go.
Nobody knows what's going on. There's groups are still forming. Ideas are forming. Like, it can be hard at the early point, but I'm like, you are too far into this game.
In the beginning, it's a lot of, like, there's not really two big people. It's
right.
kind of just, like, a mishmash of whatever.
Right.
At this point, you are playing a game.
The game is very settled. Like, there are alliances, there are groups, there are active theories being pulled, like evidence is being collected. You need to get into it because that's what you're playing. Ultimately, and we're saying this as Survivor fans, first and foremost, and I think that's why we have this opinion and this lens on it. Ultimately, this is not Survivor. This is not, I mean, it is a strategy game, but I think
it is real life.
Right. Where strategy, it holds so much importance in a game like Survivor or Big Brother that messiness and characters hold a much more. It's more even for the traders, right? So like
Yeah.
ultimately they want as messy of a game as possible, and I think throwing votes at Tom keeps it messy and keeps it like a little fun. You know what I mean? Like it keeps it like rooted outside of the deep strategy.
But like, I'll even say in Survivor, let's say you do a throwaway vote for someone random. That is risky in the
Mm-hmm.
way that like they're gonna get mad at you. It's a lot more like focused of a
Mm-hmm.
relationship lens.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Chriselle voting for either, like, why would she not vote for either of them? It doesn't really make
Mm-hmm.
sense to me. It's not like that person is gonna be so mad at you
Mm-hmm.
personally when like it's kind of obvious that that's who it's coming down to is those two people. And like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they have to understand, oh, this is a game. Also, the two people that they're voting out are gamers. Like
Right.
they're not going to take I don't think they're going to take this personally. You, Chriselle, voting for one of them.
It'd be different if it was like Danny voting for Brittany, because that's like a
Yeah.
personal, like they have a relationship. Chriselle, you guys
Yes.
just met like 8 days ago. Like it's not, there's not a history there.
Right.
So they'll understand like this is a game. Game moves have to be made.
And I just want to say throwing it at Tom is just so dumb to me. And like
I'm like, okay, I get it. Tom Sandoval is not a great person, but in the lens of this game right now, like you need to have some sort of, you need to have legs to stand on.
and like you're just picking Tom because you don't like Tom. It's not that you
Which
actually have
okay,
any like
okay,
suspicion.
Diva, I get it.
Yeah, like we actually heard multiple episodes of like you guys have beef outside the show, which is
Like,
fine.
fine, like, and you know what? I stand with a woman who has
Holds
an opinion on
grudges.
who holds grudges. Hey, I get
Me,
it.
I hold grudges,
I
and
get it,
that's
Diva,
fine.
and it's fine, and you're allowed to do so. But when we're at this point of that's it's just it grinds my gears a little bit at this point of the game. I'm like, we
Yeah.
can't, and if you're gonna do it, come up with a better reason.
At least come up with half of a
Or
reason. Not
make it
just
a
I
little
don't want to
cunty.
make a decision.
Make it a little cunty. Say, Tom, I'm voting for you because I don't like you.
Yes,
That
yes.
so I'm like, okay,
Like I actually don't know who's I don't know who the traitor is out of you two. I'm not really sure. So I'm just gonna vote for Tom because I don't like him. Say that. Say that.
that would eat so bad. Tom, I'm voting for you because you cannot keep my name out of your mouth, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I'm just voting for you tonight.
Yes, I would appreciate that so much more than just
Yeah.
I don't want to decide. So.
Right. Dylan votes for Gabby. Another weird, like, what are you
It's
doing?
so dumb. Yeah, you know what? And I should be getting on his case just as much as I should Chriselle's. I think her reasoning was dumb. I don't even remember Dylan's. He's just for some reason so blind to Boss and Rob, like
It's
follower.
weird.
It's
Like,
so dumb.
Dylan votes for Gabby, and then that shocks the table. More
Yeah.
more than Tom getting straight. Everybody's like, okay, Tom got votes, that happens. But literally, Dylan votes for Gabby. Gabby's jaw drops. Tom goes crazy eyes for a second, and Tom's like,
What does Dylan know that we don't?
literally, and it's like, what is going on? And Gabby's like at a loss for words. But really, and Rob. So here's the tea: is Rob looks a little pissed that Dylan did that vote because really, Rob really needed Dylan's vote.
Yes.
Rob
Well, that's
really
the
needed
thing.
to vote for Dylan. Rob really needed Dylan to vote for Brittany.
That's the thing. Is like, okay, if you actually believe Boston Rob and that he's a faithful, why would you not vote for Brittany?
Yeah,
That it's so dumb.
especially
Ugh.
because you started the roundtable pushing Brittany,
Yeah, and then you end by voting for Gabby.
which I think shows how well Brittany played that roundtable. That people were
Totally.
now like,
well, I don't know then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was weird play. I saw Bob the Drag Queen tweet. Bob the Drag Queen tweeted, or somebody else tweeted. Oh no, Bob. I think it was Bob the Drag Queen. Somebody was like, tweeted at Bob and was like, "Wow, we really gave Dylan praise for a couple episodes, and he's been kind of just flopping." And Bob was like, "I told y'all it was a fluke. It was just random that he guessed it was me. Like he has no evidence. He just got on my ass for no reason, and it just happened to be he was right, but it just like
Yeah.
didn't work, you know."
Yeah. Totally.
So Dylan was interesting. Rob ends up getting voted out. Even if Dylan had voted for Brittany, it wasn't enough. Rob gets enough votes to send him out the door. The girls are gagged that he's a traitor.
Which, okay.
He is gone. He drags Danny on his way out in the confessional.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's a bad player, a bad
A
traitor.
terrible game, which she is still in the game, Diva, and you're not.
Rail. Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, is she playing a little? Is she being a little messy? Yeah.
Would I call her a good traitor and playing a good game? No, but I don't think Boston Rob is the one to talk.
I think Boston Rob, you're on a plane back to Boston, and Danielle's still in Scotland. So,
right, and I would actually say in a lot of ways, Boston Rob drove her to play a messy game.
drove her to madness.
And yeah, the paranoia for sure.
Right. So, interesting take. We are told by Alan that at midnight, the 6 people who are left open for death will go to the church to await their fate. The traitors are doing their murder face to face tonight.
Love
that. In the UK version, the UK season 3 that just aired, they did it. It was there was an actual challenge that went in play, but then the traitors had to go up to the woman that they murdered, and one of the traitors and the woman who was murdered had beef. And so the traitor's name was Linda, and the woman's name was Fazia, I think. And Fazia was like, Linda, you're a bad traitor. You're gonna get caught tomorrow. And Linda was like, basically like, shut up.
Oh my god.
And then Linda ended up getting banished the next episode. So anyway, sorry. It's just interesting. I'm excited to see it. And there's not really much left in this episode. This is where I knew I wrote #BelieveCheaters in here somewhere. I couldn't remember. I wrote Tom is getting his thanks and he's being believed. #BelieveCheaters.
That's what I have to say about that.
Believe cheaters, everybody. That's what I have to say.
They were always on to something.
They were always on to something. Brittany and Danny, oh my god, they're like doing a little dance around the castle. The fact that they both survived, them being friends again is so cute. Big Brother Twitter is going crazy over this. They're so happy that they're friends again. Love it. The girls are getting ready for the church, the people up for murder. And I don't think Gabby wore this look in the challenge. I don't know. But she had like the red bow in the back of her hair.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know.
She looked really good. I was like, she looks really good in red.
Yeah.
Everybody does this little acting moment at the altar in the church, and I said Dylan's acting is giving very Zac Efron's brother.
I was gonna say that. Yes.
He was talking, and I was like, wow, like you sound like Zac Efron. Like you guys are actually related. Like there's moments where I'm like, wow, Zac Efron is showing out a little bit right here, like the Efron gene.
Yeah, they definitely look like brothers.
They're definitely related.
Yeah.
He's definitely Zac Efron's brother. That is actually
Definitely.
a fact. Dolores is giving very mob wife here.
Yes.
She's like, I hate the traitors.
I know.
I
Okay.
dare you to come out and murder me.
I love these moments of like the drama, but I do have to say I cringe a little every single time.
Like, y'all, I love y'all. You are reality stars for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily pulling this off, but I love to see you try.
Right. And that's the end of our episode. We sort of end off on this cliffhanger. Who's gonna get murdered? We end the episode. They all sort of turn around as the traitors are walking down, and we have to wait to see who's actually gonna get the chop.
I'm excited.
It'll be good. I'm excited. We're really down to the end of this. I can't believe I forget that the seasons go by. Like 2 people are getting eliminated every episode. Like this is a quick sort of show.
Yeah.
But that's it. Who do you think's winning this season? Do you think the traitors are gonna win, or do you think the faithful are gonna win?
I really don't know. Oof. I don't think I know enough because I've only seen 1 season before, and I don't know if I have enough to like guess. I
There's a
want
lot.
Carolyn to win.
I would love that too. There's a lot of nuance in this end portion of the game. Like,
Yeah.
will they take? Will they find someone to be a new traitor? Will that person be smarter than? Like, there's
I
a
know,
lot of.
I hope they don't.
I
But,
think
like,
the two of them could really.
well, and just with the numbers. There's
Right.
like, how many of them left? There was.
There was 12, so I think there's 11 now.
Yeah, so I feel like if there were 3 traitors in that mix, that's kind of too
11,
many.
10. It'll be 10 in the morning
I
because
feel
somebody
like-
will get murdered.
I feel like if quickly they kill or they banish one traitor, like in the next few episodes, then they could maybe add another. But I think 3 is too many at this point.
I'm excited. I think this season's gonna have a very good ending.
I want Carolyn or Gabby to win. Those are my 2 faves.
I think it'll be good. I really like this group of faithful that are left. There's nobody that I'm like I hate. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do well.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I really want Ivar or Sam to win necessarily, or Dylan.
Right. Yeah.
Really, any of the men left, I guess. I don't
Right.
want any of them to win.
Great.
I would be
great,
happy
great.
with anyone else.
A little side of misandry with your breakfast this morning.
Well, my problem is I don't want Sam or Ivar to win because I feel like they haven't earned it.
Right.
If Dylan were to win, I'd be like, okay, you did get enough screen time where I feel like I can sort of piece together some things. But
What about Tom?
oh, forgot about Tom. I think I want Tom to come back as a traitor.
I want them to do an All Stars version of the show. I feel like that would be so good.
So funny. I wish I could have seen a alternate reality where Tom, Boston Rob, and like I don't know, I don't really care who else. I want those 2 to be traitors with each other, and for Tom to just be like the most insane traitor, and then Boston Rob having to like try and work
Reel
with
that in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really entertaining.
Well, that's the end of our episode, everybody. Episode of our coverage for episode 7 of Traitors US 3. What?
I'm just imagining if Tom was a traitor and he's like, guys, we have to really take these decisions seriously. We are murdering someone tonight.
Guys, somebody is dying on our hands.
And, sorry to interrupt.
He thinks he gets to pick the way they get murdered. He gets to like. He's like, well, how are we gonna do it? Like, what are we gonna do with the body?
He's like, I'm sure it's crazy this is legal in Scotland. That's
I
not
know,
in
he's like,
America.
he's like, if people are filming us too, that's wild. He's just trying to get that coin, everybody. He's trying to.
Yeah.
Tom, my tip: go sell clothes at the Buffalo Exchange. Go sell that top hat covered in maggots and mealworms at Buffalo Exchange, and it will.
It'll do
You can get a
numbers.
couple bucks. Thank you all for watching. If you want more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube page where you're currently watching this video. You can follow us on our socials. TikTok is popping off, y'all. Go
Yeah.
follow us over there. Our TikTok and our Instagram at MakingFirePod. And look out. Next week we won't have an episode. The week after we'll have 2. So we will see you then.
Bye.
Thank you all for watching. Bye. Have a great. We'll see you later. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I can't.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Were you gonna say smooches?
Smooches.